All right, so you're a football fan, and you sent us some articles about this clash between Flamengo and International in Brazil. Inter had this crazy 16 game winning streak going on, and they were like right there on the edge of a championship title.
Yeah, you got to remember, though, Flamengo had already clinched a spot in Copa Libertadores. Basically, they were playing with house money.
Oh, so they were loose.
Yeah, exactly. No pressure. Totally different dynamic.
A classic underdog story brewing then, huh? Except, well, the match didn't exactly start off like an upset at all.
Not even close.
Flamengo just dominated that first half.
Completely.
Inter couldn't buy a break, it seemed like. Can you walk us through what Flamengo did so effectively in those first 45 minutes?
Their tactics were just super sharp right from the get-go. They were playing this high press. So basically, their players were all over Inter every time they got the ball.
Like a swarm of bees.
Exactly. Forcing mistakes, hurried passes.
So it wasn't just about running around like crazy. It was like a calculated disruption.
Oh, yeah. Very calculated. Especially those Flamengo midfielders.
Yeah.
They were anticipating every pass, cutting off passing lanes and winning the ball high up the pitch. That's how they were able to launch those crazy counterattacks that they're famous for.
And as if things weren't bad enough for Inter, that first goal, it came from a kind of ironic source, didn't it?
Oh, the irony was thick. Corner kick, and who rises above everyone else to head the ball in?
Don't tell me.
Leo Ortiz, ex-Inter player. Talk about adding insult to injury.
Wow. And before Inter could even catch their breath, bang, bang, Flamengo scores 2 more. Every attack was a threat. What was the secret to that goal-scoring explosion?
Well, you had those brilliant individual performances, right? Like Michael scoring 2 goals in just 4 minutes.
4 minutes.
But his brilliance was built on this foundation of incredible teamwork and tactical execution. Flamengo's high press was just relentless, putting Inter on the back foot constantly, forcing errors and opening up those scoring opportunities.
So Michael was amazing, but it was more than just individual talent. It was all part of Flamengo's larger strategy.
You got it. His first goal, Plata's header hits the post, rebound falls right to Michael, and boom, goal. Second goal. This beautifully crafted team move, Wesley sends in a perfect cross, and Michael just coolly finishes it.
Okay, so at this point, you got to figure most people thought the match was over.
3 goals up at halftime.
Yeah. Inter looked totally shell-shocked. But the second half, well, things got wild.
That's where things got really interesting. Second half was a completely different story. Inter came out like a different team, like someone flipped a switch.
A football Jekyll and Hyde. What happened? What sparked this incredible transformation?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? They made some key adjustments at halftime, for sure. Tactically, but also mentally, I think. Instead of sitting back, they started pressing higher themselves, disrupting Flamengo's flow, started forcing Flamengo into making their own mistakes.
So they took a page out of Flamengo's playbook.
Exactly. Turn the high press right back on them.
Right.
But more than that, they start playing with this belief that they could actually get back in the game.
Belief, huh? Did fatigue maybe play a role in Flamengo's struggles in the second half, all that running around the first half?
It's tough to say for sure, but it's definitely possible. Flamengo had burned a lot of energy early. Inter, on the other hand, were feeding off the energy of the crowd and their own growing confidence.
And that belief translated into some quick goals for Inter, right?
Absolutely. 7 minutes into the second half, they'd already clawed 2 goals back. 3-2.
Wow.
First, Wesley unleashes this rocket of a shot from way outside the box. Absolutely unstoppable.
Goal of the month material right there.
Oh, yeah. And then Inter Valencia, always a threat in the air, heads in across from Bertobai.
So suddenly all the momentum had swung back to Inter. Was there any sense of panic on the Flamengo side?
They definitely started to look a little shaky, that's for sure. Passes weren't as crisp, movement not as fluid. Inter's press was forcing them into rushed decisions, and the crowd was going wild with every Inter attack. It was edge-of-your-seat stuff.
The reports mentioned a few close calls for both teams, but did Inter have any real chances to tie it up?
Oh, they did, especially from set pieces. Free kicks, corners, dangerous positions. If they'd converted even one of those, who knows what could have happened.
So even with this amazing comeback, Inter might have been left feeling like they let one slip away.
Yeah, in football, capitalizing on your chances, especially those big moments, it's everything.
It really is a game of inches, isn't it?
Yeah.
Incredible how Inter turned the tide like that in the second half, though.
It really was. Showed their resilience, their tactical flexibility. They could easily fold it after that first half, but they dug deep, changed their approach, and almost pulled off this incredible comeback.
It really makes you think about what was going through the minds of both those teams in those last few minutes. Flamengo trying to hold on, Inter desperately searching for that tying goal. The pressure must have been unbelievable.
It's that roller coaster of emotions, right? That's what makes football so captivating. It's not just about the physical skill, but the mental strength, the ability to perform under pressure.
So in the end, the final whistle blows. Flamengo hangs on for the 3-2 victory.
Tough win for Flamengo, but man, a brutal loss for Inter. Not only did it snap that incredible undefeated streak, but it also knocked them out of the championship race completely.
A double whammy. Ouch.
Yeah.
But, even in defeat, their second half performance was something else. Are there any takeaways for Inter, even in a loss like this?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, first off, they showed incredible character, fighting spirit.
Yeah.
To be down 3 goals at halftime against a team like Flamengo and to come back like that, it's really commendable. Shows you the mental toughness of this team, their refusal to give up.
So even though they came up short, that second half surge is something they can build on going forward.
No doubt. They've got the quality, the belief to compete with the best. They just got to figure out how to maintain that intensity, that focus for the whole 90 minutes.
Man, this match really highlighted how quickly things can change in football. The momentum swings. It really makes you think about what those players are going through, emotionally, dealing with the pressure and all that.
Yeah, it's a whole other level of mental game, right? You got to manage those highs and lows, stay focused, and make the right decisions, even when the pressure's cranked up to 11.
Okay, so we've talked about the big picture, the flow of the match. Let's dig into some of the tactical stuff that contributed to this roller coaster ride. We've mentioned Flamengo's high press a few times. Can you break down how exactly it disrupted Inter's build-up play in that dominant first half?
Sure. So Inter, they like to build their attacks patiently, passing the ball around from the back, probing for openings. Flamengo's high press was designed to counter that directly. They pushed their players way up the field, cutting off those passing lanes and forcing those Inter defenders into quick clearances.
So it was like they were suffocating them, not giving them any space to operate.
Exactly. And the key was not just the aggressive pressing, but the positioning of those midfielders. They were always one step ahead, anticipating Inter's next move, blocking their preferred passing options.
And this led to mistakes, which Flamengo capitalized on.
Bingo. Under pressure, Inter's defenders were launching those long balls, which Flamengo easily intercepted, allowed them to win back possession quickly and launch those dangerous counterattacks.
Sounds like Flamengo executed their game plan perfectly in that first half. But then in the second half, things changed. Skinner flipped the script. What happened?
Well, Inter made a couple of really smart adjustments. They started pressing higher up the pitch themselves, basically mirroring Flamengo's tactic. This disrupted Flamengo's rhythm, forced them into making their own mistakes. It was a clever move by the Inter manager.
So they used Flamengo's own weapon against them.
Exactly. And it wasn't just a tactical shift, but a mental one too. They were playing with more urgency, more purpose. Their passing was sharper. They were moving better, winning those 50-50 balls.
One player the articles called out for his performance was Inter's left back, Bernabei. Praised his attacking contributions, especially that assist on Enner Valencia's goal.
Oh yeah, Bernabei was dangerous all night. Those overlapping runs down the left side really stretched Flamengo's defense. And his crosses were causing all sorts of trouble in the box. That assist for Valencia's goal was a perfect example. Beats his man, whips in a perfect cross, and Valencia does the rest.
So even in a loss, there were some positives for Inter, some individual bright spots to take away.
Definitely. Bernabei's performance was a real highlight. Showed his quality, gives Inter fans something to be excited about for the future.
Now, on the other side, Flamengo, even though they got the win, they looked a little shaky in that second half.
Yeah, no doubt. That second half performance raises some questions. Did they get complacent after that dominant first half? Did fatigue play a role? These are things the Flamengo manager will need to look at.
It's a good reminder that even the top teams have their off days, moments of weakness.
Absolutely. It's those moments that really separate the great teams from the good ones. You know, the ability to adapt, overcome adversity, stay focused, stay intense for a full 90 minutes. That's what champions are made of.
That's a good point. And it leads nicely into this larger theme that we've been kind of touching on throughout this deep dive, this idea of individual brilliance versus collective effort.
Yeah, that's a dynamic we see everywhere, right? From small teams to huge movements, there's always that tension between the standout individual and the power of the group.
Thinking back to the match, it's hard to forget Michael's 2 goals in 4 minutes for Flamengo. Pure individual brilliance that almost single-handedly won them the game.
Absolutely. Textbook example of how one player can change everything. But what's interesting is those goals were also a result of Flamengo's collective effort, right?
Hmm.
Their high press, their tactical discipline, all of it created the space for Michael to shine.
So it wasn't just about Michael's talent. The team structure, the strategy, it all played a part in those game-changing plays.
Exactly. And then on the other side, you saw Inter's collective spirit almost pull off the impossible comeback. No one player could match Michael's individual brilliance, but their teamwork and determination almost got them there.
It's almost a paradox, isn't it? You need those stars to inspire, but you also need everyone else to execute the plan, to make those moments of brilliance count.
It's a delicate balance, that's for sure. Lean too hard on individual talent, you lose cohesion. Focus too much on the collective, you risk stifling creativity, innovation.
This reminds me of what we see in the business world all the time. You have this brilliant founder with a killer idea, but without a great team to execute that vision, it goes nowhere.
Exactly. It takes both. The visionary leader and the skilled team working in sync. That's the recipe for success.
And if you think about those big historical movements for social change, it's often a charismatic leader who ignites the spark. But it's the collective action, the thousands, millions of people working together that really drives change.
Exactly. Think about any movement that's changed the world. It's never just one person. It's that collective will, that shared purpose. That's how you turn ideas into reality.
So, stepping back from this match, this idea of individual brilliance versus collective effort, what's the takeaway for our listener? What can they take away from all this?
I think it's a reminder that we live in a world that often glorifies individual achievement, right? We love stories about exceptional talent, amazing feats, but it's important not to forget about the power of the collective.
It's about recognizing that even the biggest individual accomplishments often stand on the shoulders of teamwork, collaboration, and a shared vision.
And on the flip side, even those huge goals that require a collective effort, they still need individuals to step up, to innovate, to inspire the group to reach new heights.
This Flamengo intermatch, it wasn't just about athleticism and tactics, right? It was like a microcosm of this fundamental human tension. The individual striving for greatness within a group, all working toward a common goal.
Absolutely. And as we navigate our own lives, whether we're part of a team, a company, a community, whatever, it's good to reflect on that dynamic. How can we balance our own individual goals with the needs of the group? How can we contribute our unique skills and also work well as part of a team?
Those are great questions. And maybe as you keep following these Brazilian clubs and other teams around the world, you'll see this interplay between individual brilliance and collective effort with a fresh perspective.
Exactly. It's a reminder that success, no matter what you do, it's rarely a solo act. It's more like a symphony, right? All these individual contributions coming together, beautifully orchestrated to achieve something special.
This deep dive has been fantastic. We've really gotten beyond the box score and uncovered all these layers of strategy, psychology, even philosophy that make the sport so compelling.
It's been great exploring this with you. And like always, it seems like we end up with more questions than answers.
I guess that's part of the beauty of it, right? The constant search for understanding, the never-ending pursuit of excellence, both individually and as a group.
Well said. Well, I think it's time to move on to the final part of our deep dive. We'll dig a little deeper into this theme of individual brilliance versus collective effort. Look at some examples from other areas and think about what it all means for us.
Sounds good to me. Look, take a quick break to gather our thoughts, and then we'll dive into this last chapter of our exploration.
Welcome back. We've been breaking down this incredible match between Flamengo and International. We've talked about the goals, the tactics, those crazy momentum swings, but now I want to dig a little deeper into this idea of individual brilliance versus collective effort, something we've been kind of circling around all episode.
Yeah, it's a dynamic that pops up everywhere you look, right?
I think so.
Like you see it in the smallest teams and the biggest global movements. There's always that push and pull between the standout individual and the power of the group.
Yeah, and thinking back to the match, we can't forget Michael's 2 goals in 4 minutes for Flamengo. Just pure brilliance that almost single-handedly won them the game. Oh, for sure. Those goals were a masterclass in individual talent. How one player can just take over a match. But it's interesting, right? Those goals were also a result of Flamengo's teamwork. Their high press, their tactical discipline, All of that created the space for Michael to do his thing.
So it wasn't just Michael being amazing. The team structure, the strategy, it all played a part in those big moments.
Absolutely. And then you look at Inter, right? Their collective spirit, their refusal to give up, almost pulled off a miracle comeback.
Huh.
No one player could match Michael's individual brilliance, but as a team, their determination almost got them there.
It's like this weird paradox. You need the stars to inspire, but you also need everyone else to execute the plan and make those moments of brilliance count.
100%. It's a tough balance to strike. Too much individual talent, and you could lose cohesion. Too much emphasis on the collective, you might stifle creativity, hold back innovation.
You know, it's like in the business world, you've got a brilliant founder with this amazing idea, but without a great team to bring that vision to life.
It goes nowhere.
Exactly. It takes both, right?
Absolutely. The visionary leader and the skilled team working in sync. That's how you win.
And you see this in social movements too, right? Think about those big historical movements for change. You often have a charismatic leader who gets things going, but it's the collective action, the thousands or even millions of people working together that really makes things happen.
It's always a group effort.
Exactly. Any movement that's truly changed the world, it's never just one person. It's that shared purpose, the collective will of the people. That's how you turn an idea into reality.
So if we zoom out, right, we've got this match, this idea of individual brilliance versus collective effort. What does it all mean for our listeners?
I think it's a reminder that we live in a world that loves to celebrate individual success.
Yeah.
We love those stories about crazy talent, those amazing achievements. But it's so important not to forget the power of the group, you know?
Right. It's about remembering that even those huge individual accomplishments often wouldn't be possible without teamwork, collaboration, people working towards a shared vision. And even when you have those big, ambitious goals that need a collective effort to achieve, you still need individuals to step up, to innovate, to inspire others to reach higher.
I like that. This Flamengo Inter match, it wasn't just a display of athletic skill and tactics. It was like this perfect little example of a very human tension, right? This balance between individual goals and the goals of the group.
Yeah, really makes you think. And, you know, as we go about our own lives, whether we're on a team, at a company, in a community, whatever, it's worth thinking about that dynamic. How can we balance our own individual goals with what's best for the group? How do we use our own unique talents and still be a good teammate?
Those are good questions to think about. And maybe as you keep watching these Brazilian clubs and other teams around the world, you'll start to see this back and forth between individual brilliance and collective effort in a new way.
I hope so. Because in the end, success, no matter what field you're in, it's rarely a solo act. It's more like a symphony, right? All these individual parts coming together to create something beautiful and powerful.
Beautifully put. Well, that wraps up our deep dive into this amazing match between Flamengo and International. Thanks for joining us. We'll catch you next time for another deep dive into the world of sport.